welcome to this last episode of YouTube for the year. And again, we want to thank all of our donors and supporters of our Ambassador Wolves and take this moment to kind of talk a little bit about the last year and what we saw and what we are seeing and what we expect, and hopefully give some perspective on the behavioral interactions within the wolf exhibit. January 2013 started out with a series of yearling testing behaviors, and we knew about that we've had yearlings before, and so we anticipated that we'd have some issues. And certainly Aiden did fairly well in setting some guidelines and setting some boundaries for the pups. We saw dominance regardless of age. Shadow Malik still display a little bit of dominance, even though they are fairly compatible as brothers living together in retirement. But it is fairly customary during the winter months to see an increase in behaviors. So as we saw January and February of last year, Bolts particularly tried to figure out his role in the rank order. And the winter was long. April brought more snow, and into May. It was late May before we started to see the snow recede within the wolf enclosure. And even longer for that, for the wolves to really start shedding. We saw a late shed pattern in the spring with wolves still carrying a full winter coat into June. Possibly, in fact, due to the short spring, we saw a lot of bugs. And that was one thing the exhibit we typically manage is fly control and ointment on top of the wolves' ears, and Shadow Malik did get a significant amount of ointment. And then June picked up into a hot July, keeping the dens with dirt that helps keep them cool. We even saw a little bit of pair bonding that we thought might be the start of Luna and Aiden kind of accepting their role as a dominant pair. Certainly we knew Luna thinks she's dominant, but the pairing part is seeming to be something that Luna's lacking. And that hot weather brought some issues for the retired wolves. And we did see some heat. For Ely, Minnesota to have temperatures in the 90s in late July and August is just not characteristic. With Bolts reaching maturity sometime between his first and second year, we anticipate that some dominance is going to arise again this winter. Aiden put a quick stop to it in August with a little bit of a challenge. And we continue to monitor Luna's leg condition to make sure that she is, in fact, dealing with activity with 3 larger males and being able to keep up and not have too much mobility problem. And that seems to be a non-issue. Luna is very, very active, very mobile, and as a matter of fact, she creates and starts most of the dominance within this enclosure. She is the dominant female because she is the only female, but in addition to that, she also has a personality that seems to want to put her in charge. And so we do see that face, that Luna face of threat display, stay away from my food, get off my bed, all those various communications that Luna does display. So we are monitoring right now as the year ends and December leads into January, which leads into the most common time of the year for pair bonding. We are watching Luna and Luna's interactions with the other males. It does appear that Luna is all about Luna, but there are many times when Luna is with Aiden. And so we're, again, happy to report that Aiden is doing extremely well as the pack leader. He has good control over these yearlings, soon to be young adults, and he certainly tolerates no grief from anyone. His discoid lupus has completely healed. Pigmentation has returned into his nose. He is relaxed, and he is getting a lot of greetings and social interactions, and that was from Bolts there, giving him a face lick. He and Bolts get along extremely well. Whatever challenges Bolts displayed and testing behavior that Bolts displayed in early August are really limited at this point. Again, Aiden commands respect, and Aiden gets respect. And we always know that Aiden's feeling comfortable and relaxed when he can lie on his side, get grooming from wolf care staff, or just kind of hang out, submit with both yearlings above him, and no concern whatsoever about his status. And he's getting, again, some grooming here from Bolts, showing a very, very strong social correlation between Bolts and Aiden. And a little less from Luna, but no doubt just the same from Luna, a greeting along the face. And that was Denali, who kind of walked on the backside there. Denali's actually figured out a way to get away from Luna. Luna doesn't climb. This is a double high rock here that Denali can lie on, and Luna hasn't really shown interest in climbing. I'm sure she can. Luna can pretty much do whatever she wants to do. It is a place where Denali seeks some relief from Luna. Luna's most common place will be on the hay beds, and we again are making sure that she's as comfortable as possible. We know that there are limitations with Luna that will always be part of her life, and our job is to make her as the most comfortable as we can and make sure that her needs are met. Over in retirement, or semi-retirement, Grizzer again is a little bit too active in order to join the actual retirees, so he's by himself, and that means that he gets a lot more opportunity to roll on his back and not have anyone jump on him. As a matter of fact, that's a good opportunity for me to clean his feet, and that's what I'm going to show you here. I'm by myself in this clip. I'm actually videotaping and trying to clean Grizzer's feet, so the camera angle might be a little bit off. But basically what happens is on these somewhat compacted enclosures where ice builds up between the pads, and it gets a little uncomfortable, and so what we try to do, actually Grizzer's the only one who gets this. I try to do it with Aiden, and then I'll just bring Bolts and Luna over onto Aiden. But I try to use my hand and warm it up. Sometimes I actually blow on it, but I warm up the ice balls and with my hand, and then try to get them off in between the pads. Again, this is not a life-threatening situation by any means. It's just a little uncomfortable, and Grizzer allows me to do it, and that's a good opportunity for me to interact with him, check him over, and certainly a little cold in the hands, but it makes him feel more comfortable, and that's really what our job is for wolf cares. Grizzer does get far more opportunities with staff than any of the other wolves here. When you live with other wolves as a pack member, being on your back and being in a subordinate role and having a wolf care member kind of dote all over you is not an easy thing with other pack members. The other wolves may see that as a weakness, take advantage of them, or certainly grab them or do whatever. So we get a lot more opportunities for these kinds of inspections with Grizzer, and again, he likes it. He is in a social posture there, very relaxed. Doesn't like his back feet being touched as much, and as you can see, Grizzer is a willing participant in these kind of daily inspections. So that's something that the wintertime brings for him that we don't necessarily deal with in the summer. Of course, in the summer it's bugs on the ears, or tick checks, where ticks do like to go in between the toes. They like to go under the armpits. So having the opportunity to inspect him in a relaxed situation has its benefits in both winter and summer. So as I said, Grizzer is living alone here and interacting with staff. Again, this past year we had watched several circumstances where he was near Shadow Malik to see if his intense focus over Malik was kind of calming a little bit, to see if we could include Grizzer in retirement. And it just is not that safe for Malik. When there are circumstances where Malik's getting a little dominance from Shadow, Grizzer is right over there in an extremely high tail, extremely excited and to some extent agitated, trying to get at Malik. We just don't want to risk anything for Malik. Grizzer is a strong 10-year-old wolf, and certainly he has a lot of power. We have seen what Grizzer is capable of doing as related to dominant hierarchy, and we just don't feel that that's a good situation for Malik. So we do the best we can for Grizzer and make sure that he's comfortable, make sure that he gets all of the care that he needs, all of the care that he wants, and again, he's got some benefits. He doesn't have to share food with anyone. Speaking of food, it is a little bit of a challenge here these past couple of days. We've had some 35 below weather. Yes, that is 35 degrees below 0 Fahrenheit. And while the wolves actually do quite well in it, they do better, I think, sometimes in a 35 below day than they do in a 90-degree day. That means the food does freeze. And so there are times when we may feed something, and especially if it's a large chunk of meat, we may bring it back in and re-thaw it prior to feeding it again. They can chew on frozen meat, but obviously we want to be mindful of dehydration and issues with having frozen food and having them to warm that frozen food, creating a situation where they're using up some BTUs. So we're always mindful of urination, and fortunately when we put straw on top of the dens, they are always subject to marking. And this is Malik here, so we do watch Malik. Malik has a little bit of a situation he's had for several years now, is that the duration of urinations, or the timing, is much longer than Shadow. And so you've always seen this with Malik. He maybe doesn't mark as frequently as Shadow, and so when he does eliminate, it's for a longer period of time. But we look at the coloration, and that was a very clear coloration urine stream, so we know that he's doing quite well. In the wintertime, we have to be very watchful of dehydration issues and very, very yellow urine concentrations. But they're doing quite well. And again, they're going to be 14 in May 8th, 2014. They will be 14 years old. It does seem that they do better in the winter than they do in the summer. So we're fortunate for them. We've had winter now for about a month. And we're always grateful to the lessons that we have learned from these wolves, and we continue to learn as they extend their life into the age of 14. And we want to wish everybody again a happy holiday. I thought I'd end with a great photo that was sent from one of our wolf supporters, and hope everyone has a happy holidays. And thanks for all of our supporters to the Ambassador Wolf Care program. We will see you next year.